All right, welcome to the EducAI⁵t method of my instructional model that I've created utilizing AI in 5 different ways, better than a Chinese food dish. Um, I'm a high school math teacher. My name's Jeff. Hi, you two, you three, for coming. Wes, nice to see you again. And I have been using all sorts of AI tools in my math class down in Carlsbad this year. The first one being Suno to create, clever tunes with lyrics that pertain to what it is we're doing. All of the links for the tools that I refer to can be found on my, linked slide deck on the spreadsheet. So that first one is Suno.ai, and I'll be talking about how I use AI to engage students, to differentiate instruction, to obviously assist them, and to assess them. So lucky me, I was on the front cover of the San Diego Union Tribune just 2 weeks ago on Sunday. There's an article in there about AI uses. And so what we did this year was really took the lid off of AI and all of the tools for our math students. We not only permitted them to use AI, but really promoted them to use AI. We tried to model, what proper usage looks like. And we're just finishing our trimester now. We're on the kind of quarter system. And I think the consensus is that when we kind of leveled the playing field by giving students all of these tools in a website that I'll share with you, it kind of demystified it and made it feel to them like it's no longer that cool, honestly, to try to skirt around and beat the system. And so now they use it on an as needed basis, but it's kind of uniformized to where everybody's got the same assets now. So we modeled its ethical use. We talked about situations, obviously, that are not appropriate to use it. And then in the article, I talk about Happy Grader, which is a grading app that I've created. And the whole concept here is to really help us teachers become what I call bionic and really use the AI and ed tech tools, obviously, to extend ourselves and make us stronger in ways that we couldn't be, but still human at the core. So I'm also the creator of Happy Grader. There's me and my math colleagues. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is really this kind of complex but kind of eloquent model called EducAI⁵t. And you can see what's going on here to decipher this concept map is that the traditional kind of 3-point lesson plan or maybe 5-point lesson plan has kids running the bases over and over. And that's kind of our traditional model, right, of education. And we're no different in Carlsbad. We've got algebra, geometry, algebra, science is the new gen science standards. All of our instruction, we're always trying to enhance it. But so students start and finish here at home plate. And if they go the traditional route, they've got kind of a warm-up activity, over to a lecture of some sort, presentation of information, over to practice problems, which I refer to as cultivating their knowledge, and then demonstrating their knowledge in assessment. And this image was created using ideogram, which is another tool that I wanted to share. And so if you haven't seen it yet, obviously, there's a lot of sites that work this way, but you type in your phrase of what you'd like to see. In my case, it was a 3-dimensional baseball field written in MC Escher style sketch, but with a floating dugout. And the dugout has a staircase going up to it and a slide coming home. And so I picked this image out of all of them. And so what's going on is that there's an alternative path to that. So in my class, I've got students running the bases in the traditional way, but students who want to reach kind of a higher level of thinking are operating in this pink kind of figure 8 way. So 2 things going on at the same time. It's kind of like rubbing your belly and patting your head. It's a little more of a sophisticated, complex instructional model, but it kind of matches with the kind of natural fit as far as differentiating different students being in different places at different times, but they all return to the same place. So on the figure 8, pink kind of path, what's happening is students are choosing to flip the instruction, and they're starting by running kind of to second base, and they're getting the explanation first. This trimester, I launched this year with trying to flip all of the instruction, and a lot of people hemmed and hawed about it from pandemic days, and my kid doesn't learn this way, and a lot of pushback there. But some of them, another half of them, just loved it. They were over the moon for what that enables us to do in the class. So now I'm running both models. Kids who flip the curriculum, they have watched the lesson already at home, so they head over and they come into class and get the hook, the introduction, the warm up, the application, and then they kind of run over to second, do the practice problems, therefore having time to go up to here, which is not a parking garage, but rather a floating kind of dugout. So here's a staircase you can see, and they climb up it, and they're doing independent projects that I'll share with you. And then kind of collaboratively, right, in the dugout, and then they're reaching home plate. And at all of these junctures, we're using AI in different ways that I want to share with you. So all of the tools I'll share with you are on my website, mathematicalarts.ai, and I'll share that with you over here. And it's just, starts as kind of a traditional teacher site with all of the, information pertaining to parents reaching out or how students can get extra help. But when you go to student tools, I've kind of accumulated this reservoir of AI tools. And this is where we've really said, all right, students, go for it. And the star ratings are ratings from students that they either use it a lot or they appreciate it a lot or some combination of the two. So there's specific math chatbots as well as obviously ChatGPT. We've got Desmos. There's this Mathway and Symbolab. So, and it could be for any subject, right? But it just means that you're pulling the lid off and giving students these resources, showing them how to use them, making sure they're appropriate for school, and kind of demystifying them. Oh, so the nice things about that obviously are that kids can pause if they want to slow down. My child, my son went to UCLA. He does these at 2x speed and blah, 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 and pauses when he needs to, so they can also speed up. Obviously, as you see here, they include subtitles, not just for our deaf and hard of hearing students, but even for people just to make multiple right sources of information. And then students can translate this as well into other languages, or you can if you have a large population of a certain language speaking student, right? So that's the explain section of EducAI$, and we'll move on now to the cultivate section. So a lot of students who come in, they've flipped the instruction, they know what they're doing, they do the 10-minute hook, they're going straight into this cultivate practice section while I'm live lecture for students who are going around the bases in the traditional 3-point lesson plan way. And they're trained. They're trained to be respectful. They're trained to actually hold off on collaborating during that time. But they're doing their work mostly in the cultivate section by some digital means, right? So they might be using Khan Academy. They might be using a program called Apex. Some of these are paid for by the district. Others are not. And then there's that Desmos teacher program too, or, you name it. I'm sure you all have plenty of tools that you utilize. For this particular course that I'm teaching right now, intermediate algebra, we use Khan Academy. It is a fan favorite of the students. And because it's got the videos right there for them to practice with. But during this time of doing the practice problem, remember that they've got all the tools from my website available at their fingertips, right? So they go to these student tools, and it's like multiplying yourself. When they can't figure something out, I've trained them on using MathGPT Pro or using Desmos or checking an answer with Mathway or getting step-by-step suggestions with Math Solver. These two apps are photo apps, so they're really mobile, and we don't allow phones in class, but they're still a resource for students. And we just say, have at it. So here's Mathos. It's a ChatGPT type thing, but how do I graph 2x squared minus 2x? And I won't go through the login process, but you get the idea. And, so these are just wrappers around the major large language models like ChatGPT, but they finesse it in a way and then I teach students how to prompt and follow it up. And so it's gone pretty well so far with that type of support. All right, next up, for those students then who flipped the lesson, they are going on to some extra credit work, is the concept here. So they're going up and kind of partying together in this dugout, celebrating, supporting others, collaborating. And so the challenging higher level thinking projects. We need to be equitable to all students. So students who are doing this pathway, they are not getting the chance to do these higher level projects. They're doing quiz corrections and test corrections instead for extra credit. If they get over 75% on a quiz or a test, then they have access to the Elevate extra credit higher level thinking project. But we cap our extra credit at 2% overall. And this is kind of then our mastery learning model, right? So you've got some students who need extra time to master the content, and then other students who access a higher level thinking project. And so we'll use Desmos oftentimes for that. We have a fun with functions project that we'll do where, it kind of guides them through creating these equations. They've practiced with Desmos graphing calculator, and now they're creating all sorts of crazy things. This student created, a game where you drag this thing around and try to avoid these sliders. So I know, Donna, I think it was, you said you were fourth grade, so obviously this is a bit higher level than them, but the concept remains that they're doing independent projects, right? And then last up, so they come around the bases, and even for assessing, we're using AI for the teacher to help extend their abilities, right? And so, you've got all sorts of tools for that. CoGrader and Class Companion for your essay graders. Equatio Forms Creator is an AI equation creator. Brisk has obviously like all these tools to generate plenty of questions, but you don't have many tools to help facilitate you to grade those responses. So Brisk, Equatio, Question Well, they'll all help you create questions. When you want to grade those open-ended questions, that's where Happy Grader is really helpful. So we use these for everything from exit tickets to multiple choice tests to open-ended answers. I'll show you just a couple demos here before we run out of time. See, I'll start with a science demo here. So this was a marine science exit ticket. And this is just from a Google form. A teacher asked one question, described the movement of water for saltwater fish. And this is the spreadsheet that she imported into Happy Grader. And Happy Grader just holds your hand through it, select any cell from the first question. Okay, here we are. And use the boxes if you want to delete any information or any students from a different class period or something, and sort if you want to by last name. But then you can see this predictive AI switch is on, and so it helps you. It doesn't create rubrics for you, but that'll be a feature that we add soon. So it really has the teacher be the human in the loop, and you say how many points you want it to be worth, and you'll put, the description of how you want AI to grade it here, and a 3 will be worth this much, and a 2 will be worth this much. So you build out the rubric, but once you build out those rubrics, this we call it a scoring guide, is saved back to your Google Drive is all. So you don't have to log in and do, kind of access all of your classes and your rosters and your tests at all. Happy Grader just gives us a lens to grade with AI. And so now it says the AI engine is going to kick in, and you can see that OpenAI, ChatGPT is kind of our engine behind the scenes. It's now grading these things. And once they're graded, I kind of, put that in the oven, take it out 30 minutes later. Then it steps you into this mode where you've got the student's answer right here. You can, identify their first name, last name, period, whatever. And it's got personalized feedback that it generated. It predictively scored it as a 1. Here's your rubric down below. And so what we do to grade these open-ended free response questions is just scroll through here, read the kid's response, check the AI. It's like your partner, modify the score a little bit if we want to. And primarily we just accept, 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 but we're always in the loop. But the accuracy has been pretty good. And then once you're done, it spits that all back out to your drive where you can save a file of results. If you're at the math level, for any kind of, it doesn't have to just be one question. It can be, a whole test, which I'll show you in a sec, but you can remove spaces, you can remove extra characters if, some extra stuff in math expressions, a lot of times it doesn't pertain, it doesn't matter, right? And we give that a 4. And so in that case, for open-ended questions, Happy Grader's got pattern recognition in here. And so we really want to move away from just these multiple choice questions where students, if they don't see their answer, they're just guessing at one. And so then we go through here and we see all of the typos and we see this partial credit, and we can put feedback down here that they made a sign error, or, for a state capitals test, you can put feedback, or for, spelling test, you name it. And then all of this gets put into, results feedback. Well, I'll show you. And that gets shared with parents and students and everybody. Where is my other screen? Here we go. So here's the kind of printout that they'll get when they answered that marine science ticket, and they just find their PIN number and they got a 1 out of 2, and it'll say what the rubric level was and that AI generated and teacher modified feedback for them. Or on an exam, this is just an open-ended quiz that we give, all sorts of geometry questions. They'll pop those into a Google form in a secure browser because we set that quiz locked setting on the Google form, and type their answers in, maybe using some special symbols that they'll copy and paste. And then they'll get this detailed printout, and we'll grade this. It just takes like 20 minutes to grade a whole class set of open-ended responses. And they'll see not only the standard that they were being assessed on, but also get the feedback for what they may have done wrong if they got partial credit. So it also really encourages partial credit. So that's Happy Grader in a nutshell, happygrader.ai, and that is the last tool that that we use to round out the bases and get home to the demonstrate section of the EducAI⁵t model. So here's my contact information, and I'm happy to answer any questions, of course, more about me in my teaching role, and then other details about Happy Grader over there on the right.